大家好，我是 EDG 的下路 Viktor。我觉得现在我们的状态比去年的话35%吧，我感觉我们可以更猛。下次打 T1 的时候特别要注意他们的一个下路的选择吧，就是我上次跟他们打的时候，感觉到他们的下路的优先级很重要，他们队友的一个风格吧，就是他们下路有主动权的时候，或者他们下路打突然比对面猛的时候，他们的表现很好的。对，然后但他们其实我觉得他们的线上人就是 T1 的 Zeus 跟中单 FLICKR 选手，然后Gumayusi也三个都很猛，我觉得我们线上人更要努力，很有自信，因为不是我们，就是我们打得好所以赢了，我感觉挺有效果的，就接下来的比赛也很有自信。
Welcome back to Worlds 2022 in the State Farm Analyst Desk, where it all comes down to this. First place will be decided between T1 and EDG in this game. And Emily, if history has anything to say about it, things are looking good for FLICKR and T1.
Yeah, so we were talking about how EDG, current reigning world champions, right? They actually finished second in their group to T1 just last year. FLICKR has never exited a group stage without being in first place. We ran this at top of the day. We're running it again now. That's just insane how consistent he has been on SK Telecom, now T1.
And his most recent one in 2021 as well, right? That was where he actually got the lead over EDG in that group to put themselves out as the first seed, but didn't end up paying off for them in the end as EDG won the entire tournament.
Yeah, so it's wild to think a loss here would leave them at 4-2. That would be his quote-unquote worst record in the group stage and his only second place exit from the group stage. Of course, equally for EDG, having fallen, just one place to T1 last year, will want to do one better, even if they were able to snag the trophy at the end of it all. But the first time that these teams met, it was T1 that still came out on top.
Yeah, and I mean, T1 came out and absolutely raised this game. I think one thing that's really cool that comes from this game that I want to touch upon is that T1 bot lane. Again, this is the game that we saw them bring out the Sivir Yuumi to the group stage, but just in the last game that we saw them, you had Kuma and Keria on the Lucian Nami, and they look absolutely phenomenal. EDG is also a bot lane focused team, so that's the matchup I'm actually looking to the most.
And I also, while T1 were playing fantastically, I do also think there were a lot of misplays by EDG. I don't know if it was the 35% we heard Viktor talk about, but certainly when I look at this, right? We saw a misplay from JieJie coming in where he ends up mistiming the smite to get the spell shield on the Sivir. We look at that Rift Herald play there as well. Viper is going forward while his front line is going back. It felt like there was a lot of miscommunication on EDG. So that's one of the big focuses that I want to see them clean up coming into this. And after the performances they've had earlier on today, it feels like it's going to be EDG looking pretty good coming in.
Yeah, you mentioned that 35% number. The idea that there's still 65% to find is absolutely terrifying to me, but I would venture to say that if we take a look at how these teams have performed so far today, EDG has at least found some portion of that 65% they think they still have left, because they look damn good today.
Yeah, I mean, EDG looks fantastic. T1 have looked great as well. Even Zeus bringing out the Oner here to make sure that he's going to be able to carry from that top side. You also had them just being able to play in this mid lane incredibly well. Well, after we'd seen at least a little bit of aggression coming through from Razor towards that mid lane, being able to bounce back, find success through the bot side, and then start to set themselves up. T1 have looked just as threatening as EDG have.
Yeah, and the really interesting thing in watching T1 and EDG go up against each other, in addition to all the other things we've mentioned about how good these two teams are, is the fact that in EDG's games, we've seen them playing a little bit differently than what we had expected with Flandre on the Fiora. You have another kind of assassin carry coming out of the mid with Scout on the Akali. And FLICKR actually brought out that Akali against them, right? And Scout has such respect for FLICKR. I think it's definitely plausible that he took from that game and then brought it out. Obviously, you see FLICKR absolutely crushing it on the Sylas here. So yeah, that's another cool like kind of thing to add to the history and rivalry between these two teams.
Especially when you look back at 2021, it was picks like the Sylas and the Akali that Scout was bringing out at the end of Worlds to kind of have these big pop-off moments. And I'm wondering if we will see a very similar story for Scout here, trying to play things like the Sylas and the Akali. But I think we will see a shift in that top side. I'd be very surprised if we see Flandre going back towards a Fiora a third time today. It definitely feels like we'll be looking more towards things like the Gragas, these kind of things that are much more kind of tank-orientated for Flandre in that top side. But I'd love to see Meiko continuing to bring out these more engage-orientated picks like the Thresh, because his roams throughout today, and even when we saw in week 1 against C9, have been so instrumental to their success. And I want to see them lean on this again. Bring out Meiko and let him shine once more. We got him the MVP earlier on. I want to see it again.
Yeah, EDG wiping the floor with Cloud9 there and some of those bot lane skirmishes, but it really does put an onus on to what you were talking about, Emily. While yes, the mid laners of both squads have been performing, a lot of the focus feels like it's being pulled towards the bot lane when you actually match these two teams up against each other.
And speaking of another player who I think obviously Meiko and Keria I see as a bit similar in regards to the fact that yes, they both can play enchanters, but they're so good at initiating. They're so smart. Both of these supports can control entire fights and skirmishes with these kind of champions. So basically, I just want to see Yuumi banned.
I didn't prep you guys on this, but I'm going to ask you as we throw to casters, who takes the game? Who gets first place in the group? Is it T1 or is it EDG?
EDG Jio.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
EDG is the call here for Dagda. Emily?
I'll balance it out. I'll take T1.
She's going with history. She says it's going to be FLICKR and T1 who gets it done once again. We're back over to Dracos and Kobe for the final game of the day.
It's a split desk dash. Wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, New York is alive. EDG chance, T1 chance, firing back and left. We're not even in champ select yet, and I already feel like people are ready to fight.
Oh, I'm ready for it too. I'm already getting into the champ select. Even further than the Yuumi ban, I think the Yuumi ban falls on red side, which should be T1 this game. So T1 probably have to ban the Yuumi, and additionally, the Maokai plus Sejuani. That has been a devastating combo, and usually falls to red side. Meanwhile, for the side of EDG, banning away this Graves. Do not let this Graves go through for Oner. They carry jungle. They have used it so effectively. Both of these teams, funnily enough, last time they played, it was T1 utilizing the Akali, Fiora, dual melee solo laners to take down EDG, and then EDG now using it multiple times today as well as their own strength.
And I think that's what makes this game so exciting, is that the first game that they played, you can talk about different reads on the meta. We saw some struggles in terms of individual performances, but both of these teams today are on fire. They're playing so incredibly well individually. They are smashing their opposition, and now it is one final game to decide who will leave as first seed, who will walk away as second. As we get picked bans, you've already highlighted the Yuumi. I don't think it's going through again this time. And if it comes down to strong solo laners matching each other, counter pick, early jungle support, all of these things become so incredibly important.
All right, Yuumi off the table. Probably Maokai, Sejuani. You know, these tank front lines so difficult to deal with. Oftentimes fall to the red side. Meanwhile, for EDG, worrying about possible solo lanes themselves. Azir, Aatrox, two of the most popular, and have remained so this entire tournament. Bottom lane though, T1 followed up with that Caitlyn, still not wanting to give over EDG that guaranteed push bottom lane. Caitlyn Lux, Caitlyn Morgana combos.
And certainly taking away some of the guaranteed scaling options. This is the case when you ban the Yuumi, you take the Sivir Yuumi off the board, you take the Azir off the board, taking away a tank like Poppy, interestingly, with only one ban left, either the
Graves or the Maokai then. Graves or Maokai get through. One of the two. What's the choice here for T1?
Sejuani as well with the melee solo laners pretty strong. And you're in a position where you can choose to ban one, leave the others up and available, or ban nothing, leave the pool wide open. Instead, opting to ban the Fiora. Respect to Flandre. Again, not a champion I expected to see him play. Busted it out twice today already.
Are they willing to do carry jungle? Every jungler has been googly eyes over Graves here since the buffs. Such a powerhouse.
Oh, wow.
I think this is why T1 elected to leave both Maokai and Sejuani up, so that, okay, you get the Sejuani, we can get the, Graves plus Sejuani back on the other side. Play it into the Maokai front line.
And see what the option is going to be here. Now remember, last time these teams played, it was Viper who got his hands on the Kalista. The expectation was that EDG bot lane would run away with it. But Guma 5-0 and 12 the last time they met. This time around, Guma putting it to the test, just wants to show that he's better across the board, both on the scaling and on the early game champions. Will get the Kalista for himself. Now it feels pretty mandatory that they take at least one of the remaining power picks, but perhaps they've got something else up their sleeve on the side of T1.
Yeah, just trade it. Give the Maokai, get Sejuani as consolation. They've been very, very, very happy with this champ. Flexing it, no problem.
Now EDG get to debate. They can obviously match AD. See if there are any other champions they want to bring to the board. We've got flex picks on either side of the Sejuani and the Maokai, so a bit of uncertainty for both teams being sowed as we get ready for the second ban phase.
Zeus hasn't played at top since their games versus Sandbox a while ago as well, but it definitely could still be flex here. And they're gonna go with the Aphelios into the Kalista. This has been one of the popular picks. See if they grab the Renata as well. You're already expecting that engage charging right at you, or the safety of Meiko's Thresh.
And I
Meiko's
like it.
Thresh today, 3 for 3. Meiko back on the Thresh. Let's see that play. And it's so guaranteed with the Maokai W setups.
And the thing is, you highlighted it already, we've already seen this exact play from the side of EDG where you just go mid with these two champions and there is nothing you can do against the point-and-click CC of Maokai into the follow-up. But I also just love seeing Meiko on playmakers. The second Yuumi is off the board and we get to see playmaker on playmaker. Emily talked about on the desk, Keria and Meiko, two of the best playmaking supports in the world, no doubt in my mind. Now get to see them both unleashed on the Rift as mid lane being targeted, Viktor opting to grab the Viktor himself and now trim away some of the other champions in the mid lane pool.
Yeah, whittle down on some of these assassin picks here for Scout. Zakali today was really clean, instant ban there. Meanwhile, for EDG, gotta look at this support role, the pairings with Kalista. What can we take off the board? We take out the Renata. We were able to pick up the Thresh ourselves.
What else do they want to opt for? Are they concerned about the Nautilus? Obviously, we're able to outplay Fnatic, but still a conventional counter pick, and certainly stronger when empowered by a Kalista. Viego now also going to hit the bench. Makes sense, as the Maokai remains a flex. Ooh, Kobe, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling the pressure, man. I feel like one wrong step, one crazy pick could change this entire draft.
I mean, if you ban either Nautilus, then they could just go more engaged like Leona or something like that too. Would be the go-to. Oh, they're still worried about the Pike. Keria Pike.
I mean, it is scary. Certainly shakes the game up. Oh, please.
Keria, one of the deepest champion pools for supports.
And he's playing with the hearts of the viewers at home as well as the audience here in New York. Nautilus is the conventional choice.
The point and click is just so good versus that Aphelios.
But the Bard. Soraka.
The Soraka comes back. Very aggressive harassment in the early stages here. So good against Thresh too, because when you self-root yourself going for a death sentence, boom, Soraka nails you with both spells.
And difficult too now because
and there's
EDG,
Graves finally.
If EDG lock in this Graves, their composition excellent at fighting front to back, but they don't really have a backline diver without a flank to get on top of the Soraka, and that's gonna make this tanky frontline in the form of Sejuani so much better. But you want a diver, there it is, Lissandra Graves duo. The kill pressure onto FLICKR in this game will be immense.
Some of the best EDG games have been when they have these enabling mid lane champions roaming around, creating plays. Lissandra, huge possibilities here for Scout. If he can get out of lane versus FLICKR. And even setting up towards mid lane. You think about top lane roaming down, Maokai W roots with Lissandra CC, or Thresh roams around the map, and they pick up Zeus with the Gangplank here for the ultimate towards bottom side. They really have an aggressive bottom side now. Gangplank ultimate plus the Kalista Soraka. T1 can focus on trying to stack some Drakes down there, open up some early cooldowns.
And I really love this because you've built a composition and you're against EDG who want to fight into you, but GP and Viktor are two champions who are hard to fight into. Kalista, of course, traditionally outscaled by a lot of these options. GP, that's not the case. One incredible barrel, one good Viktor ult if we go late enough in the game, more than enough to turn the tides in their favor. Opposite side for EDG, I'm looking at Lissandra, I'm looking at the setup.
Gangplank also really good versus Lissandra too, so see if I really do like the T1 side of it on this red side draft. We'll see though, EDG have a lot of playmaking ability. Maokai, Lissandra, Thresh. So much setup for this EDG side. In the previous game so far today, the heroes of the team were JieJie and Meiko, you know, supporting the team, setting up all these plays. And JieJie, bloodthirsty Sejuani, 6-0 on the Sejuani. Almost 100% kill participation, not quite. And now he gets the carry champion, the carry jungler of the tournament, Graves.
And it's going to be incredible to watch. I feel like JieJie looking for a bit of redemption. The Vi game he played the first time around up against T1 was not his best. A lot of small mistakes, small errors. A chance for redemption here, a chance to secure first in the group. Those are the only stakes that matters. Win your first, second you're still out. You're going to be going against the first seed from another group, a terrifying prospect when you see some of the titans in other groups.
T1 versus EDG to end the group. Just think about it. This could easily be a world final in any year.
It's been an MSI final.
30 seconds.
And again, the crowd hungry for action here, and you can't blame them. We might get a bit of silence, might get a bit of quiet on the first few levels, at least in the game.
Oh, and we got the control ward start here for JieJie again. Control ward start for the Graves.
Let's see, FLICKR, first strike, no cleanse. Level 6 comes around, the gank, the setup, the path is clear for the side of EDG if they want to make those plays happen, as you highlighted earlier. Zeus with the oranges, so easy for him to mitigate a lot of that dive threat, a lot of that gank threat. And I think the bot lane naturally is kind of where I look towards. As explosive as the solo lanes have been, I feel like the GP versus the Maokai, it's not going to be our source of action. Mid lane level 6, but we know how important the early levels are. Keria and Guma stepping forward. Poke not going to connect onto Meiko. Has taken death sentence level 1.
Yep.
Checking in. I mean, it's slow, it's quiet, a little bit of tension. Oner is going to get a bit of an early leash, which does mean that Flandre gets first access to the wave on the top side. Bot side, neither team opted to go for the leash here. Not surprised to see JieJie play away from the bot lane on the first clear, as he could try to make a play in the mid lane or top lane with the setup CC present. Credit to Viper for stepping forward. Level 2 starts to get a little bit harder as the Soraka has more harass tools.
Yeah, a huge part of the early push on this lane goes with hitting those Soraka Qs. Pretty good movement so far from the EDG duo. Dodging most of them, but the early push, of course, still acquired. Gumayusi and Keria going to slowly move it in. Sejuani moving down too with a red Raptor clear into blue quadrant. They have the pre-existing ward over bottom Scuttle Crab. Push already acquired, so T1 securing complete control of the bottom side of the map.
And it's the little things. FLICKR getting the early push in the mid lane, laying down that vision, keeping an eye on where the Graves will be, helping track some of the early kill pressure that is present on the side of this EDG composition. T1 sustaining pressure on the bottom side.
They could build a big wave and look for a dive. If they call Oner over, they could definitely burn some cooldowns at the very least here versus Meiko Viper. Yeah, big old wave stacked up, call over jungle. Here comes Oner,
Spotted.
first play of the game.
Good heads up board. They at least are going to know that it's coming. Meiko the flay, the death sentence.
Krug trade maybe.
Roomed out play this.
He left his own Krugs up, so you expect JieJie to also path up there, take top crab, look for his Krug steal as well.
Big thing here is T1 just gonna walk up, auto the tower, hit the plates, poke and harass, because Meiko and Viper cannot step forward as long as they're not certain where Oner is. They spot him now, they know that he's taken the Krugs, but the pressure on the bot side is already netted in a jungle advantage for Oner. JieJie now gonna try to respond on the top side and steal away Krugs from the opposition.
Yep, he knows. Sejuani easily back into the river, pick up Scuttle Crab. Go collect Raptors before you get your recall off. And they should end up even. Zeus okay with having the Graves up there.
And I'm just waiting. See where these junglers go. This stage of the game pretty calm, pretty collected from both sides.
Top lane actually pushing a little bit for Zeus here, so could get a little dicey with Graves behind him. He's got his wave in front.
Got the oranges, locked up, immediately uses the oranges. JieJie on the way up, big slow coming in from the smoke screen, locking that one. Zeus now needs to walk away. Second half of the Q, not gonna connect, that's big. Zeus walks out alive, doesn't burn any sums.
Yeah, a bunch of damage on those minions too, so minions taking some splash there. He doesn't have to worry about anything getting frozen on the other side of the map. Gets his recall off. Zeus holds his flash, doesn't panic.
Yeah, credit to him. Of course, small goal lead for Flandre for now as the wave. This is just a little bit from Zeus. TP as well, advantage, but you imagine the Maokai will be forced to come back to lane. FLICKR just trying to cancel the back here, threatening scout. Good hook, but no real follow-up there on the bottom side. Keria and Gumayusi so hard to bully out of lane. They have so much sustain.
tell the tension here in the crowd to top the group as soon as one skill lands. Teetering on an edge.
And of course, when you don't know where the junglers are, that is the kind of pressure that you're under. A single piece of CC hits and there is the follow-up. Fall down very quickly, and again, small advantages for either side could mean a lot as we move forward. 5 minutes in, Herald still 3 minutes out.
See if T1 can use this opportunity. Getting some canceled recalls here for Viper and Meiko. They're very low. They have no more sustain left. No more potions for Viper. 50% health there on the Aphelios. And the wave getting pushed in once again. It's an early move for T1. They decide not to recall and go for the plate money. Ooh, one auto there, getting it dangerously close.
But you can see the longer they keep Viper in this lane without backing, the bigger the CS lead feels like it's going to get. Again, you highlighted already, running out of mana, running out of health. Finally, at least Meiko will get it back. You've got JieJie in the area covering, making sure that the no dive can come through.
I wonder if Meiko goes mid with his recall then. Boots purchase for him. Could try and get some mid vision set up. You are now hitting level 6 on the mid laners. This 6-minute mark is where you can have really big mid lane plays. Lissandra with the ultimate. But they're not even going to clear out one of these gank paths. Control ward exists around mid to the top side. And we have an Oner move towards top side while JieJie moves towards bottom.
JieJie coming down. Meiko, is he going to commit the flash? Slow already coming out. Guma just forced to flash because he's not certain. He can't see where the hook is going to come from, so just flashes early in response.
Exactly. The smoke screen, such good gank setup just itself. So very efficient move there for JieJie. Clears out the control ward in the river as well, trying to establish control here for the route to gank through mid and bottom.
And you can see immediately how far back FLICKR is playing, because he knows now that 6 is here, now that he doesn't have a cleanse or opted not to take a cleanse. The pressure is on. They're still going to commit to it anyway. Flashing out, but Meiko, he's there with the hook, the lantern, the follow-up. It is textbook focus around mid lane. FLICKR going to try to walk it off, but the ignite is there.
Yeah, a false sense of confidence. You see the jungler walk across your whole lane. JieJie plays his part perfectly. Look, you don't have to worry about a gank. You know, I cleared the ward. It's free. He goes up to the top side, but he forgot about Meiko. Meiko, Thresh, all day today. 3 for 3 in games. He does not miss. Scout sets it up. The flash play with Lissandra. Now they're roaming towards the top side too. This pressure could cascade.
Not done yet. Flandre low, but it might not matter. Ult coming down from the GP. Zeus caught off to the side. Scout ready to go over the wall, locking him down. Zeus flashing out to safety, getting away from the Ring of Frost. That's going to be big because Oner is on the way up. JieJie has to be careful not to overextend. Flandre so incredibly low. Excellent response from the side of T1. They get the flash from the GP, but they will not take his life.
That play is why clearing out this vision between mid and bot is so critical. That gank pathway, both for jungler, but also for support. Meiko Thresh, making it happen again there for EDG. And the first blood money goes right onto Scout, 2 stacks onto the Dark Seal. So FLICKR, teleport had already been used. He walks back very quickly though, gets a turret plate in answer for the attempt at Zeus's life.
Yeah, these early item buys, especially if Scout is going to offer the Everfrost, are just so incredibly critical for team fighting. Offering more utility, more burst damage for Lissandra as well, making the resets easier. As Meiko taking the bad end of a trade there. Guma and Keria still playing very far forward, but XP advantage in favor of EDG for now.
They reestablish control ward presence in the river here for T1. Immediately, Oner goes in for the red buff contest. Leashing it himself. Sejuani doesn't do it very quickly, but JieJie will stop at Raptors, so that's going to give him enough time. He's got Smite, no problem. It is secure. Level 6 Sejuani, fully operational.
And you can tell how close this game is and how much it means to both teams, because neither side is risking overly aggressive moves to try to force Drake. Recall timers are being used for buys, for laning advantages. Neither side able to match a significant enough lead that they're able to take one of these big objectives across the map quite yet.
And you can see there, Scout, he then takes the couple seconds from mid lane, push out, then move into the river, clears that control ward immediately. As soon as JieJie says, hey, he took my red, he must have put it down another control ward. Go clear that thing out. That is our path to playmaking here. Scout, though, has stealth ult.
Just spotted him. Could buy time with it. Not too threatening from a damage perspective, but they will not overcommit.
He's looking juicy, though. Oner wants it.
Waiting, hoping that he burns the E. Oner can't afford to miss. Soraka on the way up. They're going to commit to the play. Scout locked down. Buys himself a brief moment. The gravity field's already there. The silence from the Soraka is key. Keria coming in just in time.
Patience pays off, and it's right at the Rift Trail. EDG going to start it out regardless of Scout going down, and T1 are just going to roam everybody to the bottom side. Look at the turret plates already being mined by Gumayusi. They kept Guma on bottom side. EDG make the call. Full rotation up.
And it's so critical that T1 are able to grab not only plates in the bot lane, but plates in the mid lane, because if it's just the Herald, the local gold, pushing that trade very much in favor of EDG, but Viper, perfect guns to take a tower. As I say that, he swaps away. Can just drop the Herald on the top side, but T1 fighting fire with fire, responding with a play of their own. 1K gold lead for now. GP ult just to clear the wave. The dive coming through on Zeus. No way he makes it out of this one. Soraka heal will not be a knife. Viper flashing out to safety though, and Keria here to stop the push from amounting to anything else.
Soraka by herself, not too scary though. Faker's teleport is not even quite up yet, so Faker could not even teleport to tower. A couple more seconds on it. Maybe when the cooldown comes up.
Herald.
Can the Herald charge before the teleport cooldown is up? I think they're gonna blow it up, yeah.
Trying to get it down.
That thing is gone.
2.5 plates, gonna shred through it. EDG grabbing first tower of the game, now finding themselves the gold lead. Good heads up use of the Herald. Scout already covering the bottom side to stop Guma for pushing for anything else. Ooh, one more. One pistol shot. Ooh. Doesn't mean much yet, but might mean an extra easy 600 gold later in the game.
Shelly's a hard worker. Gonna see that job done all the way into the secondary turret. Definitely could mean something later on, but not extreme split pushing on the side of EDG, of course. They're looking for the quick push and roam strategy. Try and make use of that crowd control setup. Faker, meanwhile, moving down to find Scout again. Scout now has Flash, though, in addition to his ult. So.
Faker moving with so much confidence because he has Luden's massive item advantage. He can just zone Scout out of this lane, force him out by trading aggressively, and as long as there's not a jungler in the area, heavily favored for him. It's just going to back off there as Meiko tries to regain control of the bottom side. Of course, important to note the Graves obviously packs a punch in terms of damage, but Umbral Glaive just such an overall powerful item when it comes to these fights over vision.
Yeah, especially when you always combine it with the zombie ward as a jungler. It just proliferates the vision across the map, and he's going bottom side looking for Faker. Scout with the setup
and
again.
Looking to lock him up. Gravity field going to lock down JieJie for a brief moment. Scout now forced to back away. JieJie now on the chase. That's the challenging smite laid down. 1-2 shots coming in from the shotgun. Oner not going to connect on the oldest big, but JieJie whiffs. Oh, the movement from Faker. But no! One bullet. The fade away with the lantern from Meiko. It is beautiful to watch.
Oh, Faker, the hubris there. He wanted the money. But JieJie, he moves right in front of the Sejuani. Oner could not block the shots. He gets the kill and gets out on Meiko's lantern. This Thresh is such an enabler.
And that is an absolute moment where the tiniest mechanical differences matter. The box laid down, the lantern there, but Viper not quite close enough to follow up. Keria staying focused, but the gold still so close. 400 difference between these two teams. There's a Drake for the side of T1, but there's a tower for EDG.
Oh my goodness. All right, I'm pretty sure JieJie misses the Q damage too. So yeah, Scout, it gets flashes with the ult. JieJie doesn't get the Q damage or the R damage. He's also gonna get juked on the R. But as long as he eased the stun, Faker comes back in, and JieJie just moves across the Sejuani, gets the auto there. You gotta have a body blocker. Because at this moment, he knew he made a mistake. But and then the Meiko lantern there as well.
And the thing I love about that is even in a serious game, even when the stakes are high, both Faker grinning, JieJie grinning, they both know what happened there. You just gotta respect it.
You missed the Q, you missed the R, but you hit the I.
You gotta play it flawless. That's the pressure when the gank comes through. Viper and Meiko reestablishing control of the mid lane. Only gonna get harder for Flandre to sit in lane up against Zeus. As the Triforce already completed, it looks like Collector on the way. Obviously very powerful with the GP ult. And Kobe. This game is delivered. Thus far, it has been exactly what we wanted. It is no longer one team out-drafting or styling on the other. It is neck and neck. It is toe-to-toe, fist fight across every single lane.
And it's going to be very interesting to watch.
Oh, Zeus! He's hitting the barrels. The cats come out. But they're just a parting
burns
present.
down the whole forest there, Daniel. Oh my goodness. He's full health too. FLICKR on the other side though, again. JieJie back for round 2. Oner's waiting for him.
JieJie now going to be in trouble. Only 2 stacks though. The entire team now backing off because they know they don't need to fight. They don't need to force for anything else. Already on the top side, Zeus has done so much to build an individual advantage. 40 CS lead, taking a tower. The GP is massive.
Yeah, Trinity Force and Serrated Dirk spike here. While Flandre's still working on Mythic. He made the stop off to get the tier for the mana. And Zeus finishes Collector at 15 minutes. Trinity Force Collector done here for Zeus after that. Level 11 as well.
Yep.
Rank 2 Ultimate next time.
Okay, let's take a look back at this one.
Honestly, this is so quick. Oh, so Flandre W'd, but it's a little late. He still took the barrel damage. He was trying to dodge the barrel damage with the W, but it's a little late there, and Zeus just pops him.
The Cats just give him a warm hug on the way out. He's having a great time, getting everything he wants in the exchange. And T1 now setting up around the objective. And remember, with Zeus this far ahead, with FLICKR at level 11, EDG fighting into this is so hard, but Scout on the side, maybe he can get something done. They're moving into a choke. This could be big for Lissandra, but the silence! Countered in picks and bans. There are no buttons for Scout to push.
It's too easy for Keria. Puts the silence field right down on that claw, but a Scout takes it and instantly blown up.
And he couldn't help it. 5 members there. Would have been a 5-member snare. But Keria knows it's the best option. Another lamp! Oh, man! Take this champion away! The silences are too clean from Keria. T1 pulling ahead, 2K gold lead. Sights set on that mid lane tier 1.
Keria with the Bard trumpet as well. He just says no, EDG. 2 wards down on that lantern. Silence field again. Both EDG carries. Both EDG carries countered instantly by Keria.
So
he's also rushed the Mikhails to get every member, any member of T1 who gets out, he can counter there as well.
Oh.
T1 already have built all the answers. The silence field was down so early too. No reason for Scout to take that. No reason at all for him to take that.
And maybe doesn't quite see the animation in the moment. There are so many champions there, but here, there's nothing you can do. Not only do they drop the silence, not only do they get the snare, they drop 2 wards right on top of that
2
lantern.
wards and a big old Poro Rider.
I gotta say, Sejuani looking like the champ of the day.
Certainly is. My goodness though, this EDG comp, it relies so much on picking people off on side lanes here. The Maokai, Lissandra, Thresh that we went over. But T1, not only do they have the Gangplank, they also now have the Mikhails to get anyone else out, a Soraka heal as well for anyone who gets picked. They have so many answers built to the engage of EDG.
And I feel like this EDG composition so often functions like a shotgun. You got one shot, you gotta hit it. Scout needs these multi-man ultimates, JieJie needs these multi-man ultimates. But the Soraka is just a cork in the tip of that shotgun. It is not going well. Snare gonna hit 3 though, that's big. That could potentially be the start of the fight that they need. FLICKR trying to zone the rest of the team away, but Scout's already on the back line. He's managed to lock down 1. Maybe this is the follow. Viper on the backside, not able to get in though. That's gonna be key. 2.5 seconds from the Zanyas. Not enough. Zeus leaping in. It's a pirate with a gun versus all of EDG, and he's making it work. Keria, the frontline Soraka. We went from dead even to absolute slaughter. T1 taking over the triple for Zeus, dominating the fight.
Keria said, we are the boss of Group A. T1 going to emphatically put their stamp on the day. It is a clean ace. Zeus taking heads here. Collected, collected, collected.
Man, he's gonna have 10K at the end of this tower.
That is a rich pirate.
Before 20 minutes of 4 1-1 Gangplank.
10,000 gold already.
You talked about a loop pinata, and we got one more on the rim.
Look at the sectioning on this team fight here. Zeus this whole time just moves up and creates another front while the rest of them go for the other side and are all focusing on FLICKR. Scout has to zone yours early, the rest of the group, but Zeus, boom, there's one, collects him, boom, he's got another. Passive procced on Viper already, another shot.
Even as the Lantern is coming out to save him, they still connect it on the exit. And it's big because they have so much zone control. If the initial combo does not work, it does not take someone out immediately to get the Lissandra a reset. You can see the smiles, the elation on the faces of T1 and their staff, because they know how easy it is for them to execute these fights, how well they have been playing to shut down all of EDG's options. 3K from the GP, just about 4K from FLICKR. Monster performances from these solo laners.
Yeah, Keria with that very quick Mikhails onto FLICKR as soon as the Maokai gauge went off. And FLICKR unleashes the full combo there. Storm up super early. T1 absolutely smashing.
And now it's a 6K gold lead, Kobe. 20 minutes. So hard now for EDG to fight back. Again, if they can pick off single members, they've still got a chance, but need to keep their eyes on Keria, really. If they take that silence out of the equation, maybe they can get a little bit more done, but if it's not the silence, it's the gravity field. Of course, there is a Herald in favor of EDG. They will finally use it in the mid lane, really trying to force this exchange. Shrelia's used. Lot in the back of that Herald, a lot of spears stacking up. They won't be able to stop the charge, but they can stop the follow-up push. Zeus on the side. Again, one big, one very angry pirate looking to make his way out of this group. FLICKR already taking down one, Flandre off to the side, down. Viper in no man's land. 5 members chasing him down. He's got all the chakrams in the world, but he ain't got any teammates. He's getting knocked down, and T1 setting their sights on the Baron.
FLICKR has always exited groups in first place, and today looks like it will be no different. JieJie gonna try and slip in here for an objective bounty off of this dragon, but the teleport comes through. Double teleports.
Oh, T1 ready to fight for everything. Keria off to the side, the silence on the scout. Zeus in the midst of everything. Do they have enough damage to burst him down? He's dominating, he's huge. The Soraka keeping him healthy, they can't kill him. Maybe, just maybe, but no, they don't do the damage. He's surviving everything. Keria, the hero to stop the shutdown. The hero to keep Zeus alive. And there's nothing else we can say. New York is saying it for us. Tight, close game, first 15 minutes. It takes one fight, absolute confidence and execution from the side of T1. They are dominating EDG.
So clean. Started out, Oner with the ultimate here, over onto JieJie. They try and peel with the Maokai ult, but look at this. It's Zeus with the Chaos Storm. FLICKR and Zeus run the entire team away from Viper. The two T1 carries run them off, and then Viper's got no team left. He's been run into the pit by himself. T1 with Baron buff now.
Oh, Flandre running. No, Meiko can't even speed him out to safety. T1, they're so far ahead now. The execution's already been fantastic, but now the gold lead feels nigh insurmountable. Aphelios farming what he can in the mid lane, but he has to get out quickly. The rest of T1 ready to collapse at a moment's notice. He does not have the luxury of a Thresh lantern there. He has to retreat up back into his own jungle just to survive. Viper fishing for a 1v1 against the support, but he can't finish the job, and now, well, we know who can. It's gonna be Zeus. Gale Force out. Viper just barely able to escape.
My goodness, these T1 carries, the combination of FLICKR, the GOAT, and Zeus, one of the most exciting players in the entire world right now.
JieJie just barely able to make it out. You know, Zeus got a Thunder, Zeus got a GP. Everyone's got their thing.
Ooh, the entire map in T1 control. The whole thing is red. There are only specks of EDG blue to hide behind at this moment.
13K gold on the GP, Kobe. It's...
Infinity Edge is on the way.
You're not supposed to see leads this big in a pro game, Kobe. It's an incredible performance.
It's almost 4 items to 1 up here in the top lane matchup.
Yep.
That is brutal.
Ooh. And to be fair to Flandre, I think he should probably stop taking farm and give it to the carries. But it's just so hard. Viper just hitting 2 items. Guma already at 3. FLICKR on the way to 3. Has the Lich Bane too, just for the extra close combat dueling. Doesn't need the death cap. EDG have to hold the line if they want first seed. Hook gonna connect on the Viper, or Gumayusi. That could be the start of something. FLICKR getting zoned away, but they burned all their cooldowns and they have yet to find a kill. The re-engage now coming in. The lockdown from over the wall. Zeus still standing strong. Keep your eyes on the barrels. Where are they gonna go? If they can find 1 kill, maybe it'll be enough. FLICKR getting cut down. FLICKR, can he stand strong? The shutdown, the reset from the Lissandra. 1 ghost, not gonna be enough. T1 too far ahead, but they're finding 1 at least. They're slowing T1 down, but still they push forward. The hook going wide. Oner going in. That's his cue. That is his signal. The GP raining hell from above. Oner, Meiko taking the kill.
Soraka's OP, but not that OP. Can't keep Sedge alive under the tower there. Last one does take it down. A little bit of hope for EDG, a little bit of a spark. 2 kills for themselves. Getting a shutdown there onto FLICKR. Now is the time to rally. You hear the fans trying to start it up. Looking for that comeback. 10,000 gold down, 3 dragons down, but a hope alive.
JieJie, fuel. They need it. Fuel for the fire. That takes time. That's all EDG need. That's the hope that they're buying themselves. A few more minutes to farm to get stronger, but despite the lead T1 built, EDG still managed to make some things happen.
Yeah, they engage on both sides. Flandre flashes on FLICKR while Guma gets hit with the Meiko death sentence there, but then Zeus comes to push him out. They re-engage onto FLICKR right out in the open. Scout uses the offensive ult so they can get the shutdown. It ends up going to Maokai. Not the best recipient, but they're glad to get the kill regardless. And then on the engager from Oner, he can't quite get the kill on a JieJie, who gets off his Gore Drinker proc there to heal himself, and Sejuani gets trapped under the turret with the extra slow, even with the heals from Soraka going through.
And now we've reset the map. The siege stalled for now. EDG fighting just to get out of their base, fighting for a bit of control, but there's a ward behind them already. Now the TP flank threat is not massive in most circumstances, but with this GP so fed, it is still a concern. You can see the Death Brush already set up. They might not have a Heimerdinger, but they know how to wait in the fog of war.
Both sides waiting for the face check.
It's gonna make it happen. And you can see, it could just be one final 5v5. Autos have to come out to stop the barrel. They can't afford to let it proc. Tension palpable.
Gonna try and push out mid here. EDG make a rush on the wave, but T1 gonna get early priority towards this Ocean Soul. Dragon has arrived. They have Rend also. They can burn it down. EDG have got to go now.
It should be impossible to steal if they get the full setup. JieJie now moving over the wall into the pit, but it's still 6.5k health on the objective. EDG zoned away. They're waiting for the Cannon Barrage to expire. Big ulti coming off to the side from Viper, but he doesn't have the damage to back it up. Who can get the Drake in the end? It's the Red. It's the Ocean Soul for T1. This has to be it. EDG have to take this fight or the game will fall apart. They start off with a good exchange. Already the Sejuani gone. Zeus firing back one in respawn. The Kalista now flashing forward. Guma, fearless, leaping into the face of EDG. Viper running from the hills. T1. Domination. They get the soul. They'll take the game. They're TPing just for a bit of a fun. There's nowhere for Viper to go. Zoned out. Gale forcing away, but he will be cut down. They will take their time. But T1 in group stages are an inevitability. FLICKR has never gone out second, and he is not looking to start today. T1 will take their time finishing this, but they will exit their group 5-1. They will push EDG to the second seed. They will outlive Fnatic and Cloud9 and look ahead to the challenges in front of them in the quarterfinals. EDG perhaps one last desperate stand. T1 ready for one more fight to seal the deal. Zeus legendary. Scout off to the side, gets a massive shutdown, but it is too little. It is too late. They will run, but Guma knows what he wants, and it's the win. More than the champions in the fountain. T1 leaving his first seed.
Huge stuff here for T1 moving through the tournament. Exiting as first seed yet again for FLICKR. Their bottom lane was massive. Pushing here early on with the Kalista Soraka, but Keria coming up with the silences on the engage. Stuffing EDG's hopes. And Zeus on that Gangplank. My goodness, they let the Maokai through, and they chop it right down.
And you love to see it because that's the kind of innovation you expect as we get into best of fives. How many more of the tournament power picks have a counter ready and waiting for them in the arms of some of these teams?
This Lissandra could not do anything. You're looking across the board. Top is a Gangplank. Can't do anything there.
Yeah.
Mid lane, FLICKR, his support rushed to Mikhails. So Keria, first item Mikhails, you can't go for him either. The Soraka silence on the ground on these engages made the game so difficult for Scout to play.
And I feel like we have to give credit specifically to Keria and Zeus. And Keria, so much of it the Soraka pick. He obviously played it exceptionally, he built exceptionally, and Zeus individually built that massive lead. Suffered under the attention of 3 members on the top side, EDG committing a lot to try and shut him down, but he was in this game an inevitability. He just took over in the fights, landing so many barrels, taking out so many threats.
Everybody has some part of them that is a FLICKR fan.
Yeah, I think just everybody probably is a FLICKR fan. Even if you're like, I'm not a big T1
the whole
fan.
part.
You can't. All of him, from the 2015 broccoli hair and the roll to like whatever. You're a fan. You can't not be a fan. There's a literal GOAT in the audience that's a fan of the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like, it all comes together well. And of course, credit to EDG. I really want to see what both of these teams can do now as we move to best of 5. And they have this luxury of watching the rest of the groups unfold as they sit.
Oof, look at that domination.
Wow. Only Guma close in the damage charts as a Kalista and doing Aphelios. Everyone else, you look at the top side, when you look at the mid, you look at the carries of this T1 lineup, massive, massive damage. And again, the story of the game told so beautifully in that graph, neck and neck, incredibly close. 15 minutes, 1 fight, 1 silence from a Soraka. The entire game taken away from EDG.
Great stuff here. Nice ending to Group A, one of our most exciting groups. Moving on tomorrow.
We got a lot more.
Group B, baby!
And this was supposed to be, you know, the 2-1, the Chaos group, but coming out today, EDG T1. And you have to wonder how many more teams are going to show us more picks, more answers to what we've seen in the meta, more strategies, or just an uptick in performance. Or to be fair, a downturn. You never know what you're going to get. Hoping for mostly upticks.
Hoping for upticks, always. More exciting games, more Heimerdingers popping out.
I'll be honest, Kobe, I wasn't convinced. I was convinced by you.
See,
Your excitement for the Heimerdinger sold me.
We never got the
Heimerdinger,
proper face check to make it look.
Yeah, but you're waiting for your opponent to do the thing. You're not, the Heimerdinger doesn't make it happen.
That's true.
He doesn't have a sign on his head that says, like, must face check. You know? For context, we're setting up for an interview. Of course, very exciting. We have to hear from T1 after a game like that. But taking our time here in a brief moment. Once we're ready to go, we'll toss you guys over there to Shocks.
Yeah, honestly, though, you know, such cohesive play from this team, too. And I think deservedly so, coming out here with the first place spot,
yeah.
You know, for the seedings with the rest of the groups, stacking up all of the other groups as we've been seeing every other team play this tournament.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a lot of teams go for the more early game. You have the Lucianamis, you have the Kalistas. And I like now that in the context of EDG versus T1, we've seen Guma take both the scaling in the Sivir Yuumi and the more aggressive early in the Kalista.
I think they're ready.
But I think New York's ready. I'm sure you're ready at home. We're going to head to the stage to join Shocks and the Group A god himself, Zeus, for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much. The T1 fans are very excited, and I'm sure Zeus is as well. Well, first off, Zeus, congratulations on locking the first spot in Group A. How do you look back at your performance as a team this group stage?
우선은 1시드로 8강 진출 확정 지으신 거 정말 축하드립니다. 이제 팀적으로서 이제 본인 그룹 스테이지 경기력 어떻게 되었다고 돌아보시나요?
일단 지난번에는 푸나틱이도 한번 지고 해서 좀 아쉬운 점이 많았는데 오늘 세 경기는 되게 만족스럽게 잘 치른 것 같아요.
So in the first round robin, you know, we lost to Fnatic, so it was a bummer, but today I'm pretty happy with the 3-0 result.
Why wouldn't you be? Now, Zeus, you have stepped up as one of the main carries of the team throughout this year. How happy are you with your personal performance and how you've matched up against the world's best so far?
이제 제우스 선수는 올 1년 동안 정말 T1의 메인 캐리로서 또 성장하는 그런 모습을 보여주고 계신데요. 지금 월드 와서 본인의 활약에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시는지 또 세계 최고의 탑 라이너분들과 만나봤는데 어땠나요?
일단 다들 되게 잘한다고 생각하고 느꼈고 그리고 뭔가 최근에 좀 자신감이 많이 떨어진 상태였었는데 오늘 뭔가 잘 된 것 같아서 되게 뿌듯한 것 같아요.
Well, I mean, recently I was a little bit losing my confidence, but you know, today I think I showed up a lot, so I'm pretty happy.
Absolutely did. Zeus, how much would you say T1 has worked on their strategic depth and the ability to evolve throughout the tournament now that you're getting into these best of fives?
이제 다전제 모드로도 넘어갈 예정인데 T1이 지금 월즈에 와서 또 전략적인 부분에 얼마나 깊이를 더해가고 있는지 궁금합니다.
일단 저희가 지금 이렇게 미국 와서 연습도 되게 다들 많이 열심히 하고 있고 그리고 좀 잘 되고 있다는 그런 느낌도 들어서 되게 8강도 기대가 되는 것 같습니다.
We've been practicing pretty hard, and also I think we're gonna do great in the best of 5 series as well. So I'm so excited right now.
Speaking about those best of fives, the finals we've seen recently of international tournaments has always been LCK versus LPL. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on how strong you think the LPL is at this tournament.
이제 또 최근 몇 년간의 월드를 놓고 보면 언제나 결승전이 LPL 대 LCK 구도가 많이 나왔는데 그런 만큼 지금 LPL 어느 정도 강하다고 생각하시나요?
일단 LPL 팀들도 되게 강하긴 하지만 그래도 저희 LCK가 좀 더 강하다고 생각해서 이번 결승전은 좀 LCK 내전을 보고 싶네요.
So, well, LPL is strong, but I think LCK is stronger. I wish this finals will be LCK versus LCK.
Awesome. 감사합니다. Thank you so much, Ji-sun, as well. Wonderful interview with a wonderful top laner. Back over to you and World's Cooldown.
Thank you so much, Shox, and congratulations to T1 for locking up the 1 seed out of Group A. EDG also moving along to the knockout stage as the 2 seed in this group. But before we dive into the series, I want to hand things over to Emily for a word on Zeus.
Yeah, so I think Zeus is someone that we kind of touched upon, but not really when we were talking about this, in specifically going against Flandre. He's kind of been the almost unsung hero because you just like look up there and it's like, oh, he's doing really, really well. Okay, we can focus elsewhere, right? And that's such a massive win for T1, and it can't go unsaid of how many opportunities he finds for his team just by being so amazing in so many of these top lane matchups.
Yeah, it's sometimes the unfortunate reality of talking about teams this good, right? Dagda is like, well, we talked about 4 of the 5 matchups, like we're running out of time, and then lo and behold, the GP solo kill in the Maokai up in the top lane, and he's superbly relevant. You saw the damage graph at the end of that all.
It's not even the fact that he solo killed Flandre. Like, he almost got a second one initially that, like, Flandre just about managed to get away from. And then 18 minutes into the game, he triple kills on Gangplank. It was 24 minutes into the game, and he was like, hang on a second, I need to go buy my 4th eye. Are you for real?
Like, normally we wait till at least 35 minutes of the game until GP gets the triple kill, but he did it 10 minutes faster this time around. What a showing out of T1. Great tenacity as well, because this one wasn't all sunshine and roses in the early game. They definitely had to work a bit for it.
Yeah, so EDG got ahead in the early game, and this play is kind of the turning point, right? And I do want to point out, yes, I was like, man, I really want to see Keria on playmakers. I mean, little did I know that Soraka silence, you know? He was making plays. Unironically, it's such a massive part because every time EDG wanted to go in, oh, there's a Viktor ult. Oh, there's a Soraka silence. Like, it's so hard to execute this team composition, especially when EDG started falling behind with what T1 brought to the table.
Yeah, and I think, as you say, like, you had great engages coming through from Oner. The damage that was coming out from Zeus as well was absolutely insane. And it felt like T1 were very good at kind of keeping the ball rolling. So they were very good at, hey, we're targeting this person, we're going to follow through, whereas you can kind of see EDG very quickly scattering, right? Like, Viper left alone on the top side of this fight. T1 did such a good job of using things like the Viktor, the buy space and fights, the Gangplank goals to keep people away, and then those silences as well. Like, even the fact that you're not able to take the Lantern when you're silent makes it incredibly difficult for you then to position in these fights. So honestly, just really good use of the zone control coming through from T1 made this short range composition from EDG so hard to play.
Yeah, and let it not go unsaid also that, like, with the Kalista, this is something that I think of as quintessentially T1 for this T1 team. They play very well, like we've already pointed out about Gumayusi's Caitlyn, but they play very well around these pushing bot lanes and know how to execute them to perfection.
You know what else is quintessentially T1? FLICKR. And FLICKR finishing first in the groups alongside whatever set of 4 players flank him on the world stage. They do it again. T1 first out of the group.
But again, I love that we get to see so much different diversity from this man. He comes in, we're like, okay, well, you know, he's the puppet master coming through from LCK. He's like, hey, I'm going to play these more facilitators. I'm going to play like the Lissandras, these kind of things. He's like, no, I'm going to go play Kali. I'm going to go make sure that I'm able to pop off on this. Then he brings back the Lissandra. Now he brings out the Viktor and is popping off on this. It feels like this guy cannot be shut down regardless.
And here's the thing about this last game. You mentioned the fact that he hops onto Viktor. Before this game was played out, we were talking about champions we might want to discuss at the end of the day. Champions we're hot on, champions we're not on, and Viktor came up as one of the champions we're not so hot on. Here's a look at Viktor's stats throughout just the group stage here at Worlds. Sporting a 4-7 record. I'll remind everybody that was 3-7 until FLICKR just went and played him and won on him. And every single one of those stats below would have looked worse if it weren't for FLICKR and his performance. So that's just something to consider when we talk about this pick that seems to be preferred and played a great number of times, but to very little effect.
Yeah, I think the reason is because we've kind of seen into champions like Azir, he's just getting bullied out of lane. When you look towards early skirmishing, he's not able to bring a huge amount to the table as well. So when you're looking towards things that can be a little bit more active, Viktor just hasn't been able to match up. But in this scenario, when you have T1 playing so well around grouping up, playing around the zone control that Viktor can bring, using things like the Gangplank, like Keria's silence, that's where we can see him take a step up and why FLICKR was able to have the most damage on T1 in this game.
Yeah, I think this is a really good illustration of why teams want to play Viktor, right? Especially if you have a composition like this. And again, every time EDG want to go in, especially scout on that Lissandra as an initiator, well, he just gets shut down because Viktor does so much damage. And then another reason is that's why people keep picking him, right? Like, he has a ton of zone control. He does a ton of damage. I believe FLICKR did 30.1K, which was the most in that game. So you can obviously see how to execute it and why teams still keep going to this pick.
And I think the thing is as well, it's really good teams are able to set up the Viktor for success. When you look at the way T1 were playing, it's like, okay, back into these choke points. Make sure they're able to split up the team. We're getting value from the gravity field. We're getting value from the Chaos Storm because people are grouped up. I think that's what makes or breaks Viktor in a lot of these team fights, is how well you can utilize the space he controls.
All right, so there you have it, a case study in how to play Viktor if you're going to bring it out on the world stage. From there, though, ironically, one of the picks we're hot on, even after taking the loss in that last game, is Thresh. I mean, definitely when Meiko's playing it, but I think just generally in this tournament, we're going to see this pick possibly rise in priority and see more and more value as we go deeper into the tournament.
I think he just offers so much across the board, right? Great engages. He's got disengage for a lot of those immobile AD carries that we're starting to see creep up as well.
Also, CSD, damn good on that support thread.
Not bad at all,
you know? Myself.
I mean, when you're playing against enchanters, it might help out a little bit. But I think as well, it's the fact that, you know, as we've kind of crested out of this enchanter meta, picks like Thresh that can kind of keep your AD carry safe, but also provide a lot on a roam, are going to start to see more and more value throughout this.
And with support players like Meiko, like Keria, who can, again, control entire games with a pick like this, we've seen Keria bring it out as well in this tournament and do very well with it. So I think because we have so many talented support players here, it's a really good pick that I like to see rising in priority, just because a skilled Thresh is just so fun to watch.
Also, just the fact that a pick I've been keeping my eyes on, the Aphelios, I was expecting to see much more of him, but now it feels like he's pairing so well with the Thresh. He's a 60% win rate in World's group stage at the moment as well. It feels like as we get to see more Aphelios and more of these top teams and top AD carries bring him to the table, Thresh is just a no-brainer to plonk in beside him.
Yeah, if I'm going to hang my hat on anything right now as an NA fan, it might be a Vulcan Thresh over there for EG. See if some plays can be made when they step onto the stage. Let's refresh on our group standings here as we concluded the group stage for Group A today. It's T1 at 5-1, booking the top slot out of their group with Edward Gaming just behind. It's a 2-4 finish for Fnatic and a 1-5 finish for Cloud9, but we still got 3 more groups to decide. And so now let's take a look at tomorrow's schedule, which will be Group B. As you can see there, JieJie holding the top spot at 3-0, but we'll see if they can be contested tomorrow. That said, we kick things off with EU versus NA, EG versus G2 Esports. Follow that up with the second matchup of the day for EG as they try and get it done against the LPL team in JDG. Damwon Kia after that against G2 Esports closes out with 3 more matches that day. Emily, I'll turn to you. What do you got your sights set on here?
All right, so I'll come to bat for EG a little bit. I'm not necessarily predicting them to get out of this group, but I do think, actually, you know, before I saw C9 come out and look so strong against Fnatic in that game, I think EG are actually performing pretty well. Like their play-ins kind of gave them a buff to figure things out a little bit more. Some of those games could have gone either way. Like I actually keep thinking of that JDG game and being like, if they play that a little, you know, the execution is a little better, they could end up taking that. Is that a flaming hot take?
I love it.
Wow.
I mean, at this point, anything can be flaming hot
just my
take.
opinion.
No, I kind of love it. It's just my, but that's what all flaming hot takes are. They're just somebody's opinion. I mean, it does feel a little strange to compare 0-3 week 1 performances. But I agree with you.
Yeah.
If I'm evaluating the NA03s, EG's by far and away look the best to me.
I 100% agree. I think they, especially the first game they played against JDG, their ability to actually like play out maps, they play for cross maps. Like these guys actually looked really, really good. And I was genuinely nervous as the LPL guy that EG were going to take it. So we'll have to see if they can try and bring it back tomorrow.
All that said, we are looking at a very similar group makeup regionally than what we saw today, right? Where you still have JDG and Damwon Kia looking like the real threats. And so I'm curious if you, let's assume the day goes similarly to Chalk as it did today. If you were to end up in a JD versus Damwon Kia matchup for first, right? How's your confidence level that JDG currently with a 1-game lead would actually wrap up the 1 seed?
Solid 52.5%.
Hey,
Wow.
we take that. That tilts ever so
that
slightly
deserves the
in my
flaming hot
favor.
take away.
Yeah, we'll flip that coin
That one was
52
really
times.
good.
Yeah, I mean, Damwon JDG, it has been, in my opinion, still the best single game that we've seen at this tournament. It was so good. And as I've said before, like, I might not stand by my super hottest take, right, that I was going to have on day
Flaming
one.
hot take.
There's like, Damwon, we're going to win Worlds. But I do think the meta is super, super good for them. And I really love this Damwon team, especially Canyon. So I think, like, going up and seeing Canyon and Kanavi go toe-to-toe again is always going to be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, even coming into this, Damwon was kind of my dark horse for the tournament, right? It felt like the meta has hit them. Exactly. The meta has hit them well. They're performing brilliantly, like Canyon back on carries. You got Nuguri, able to have his carries on the top side as well. It definitely feels like Damwon are primed to have a really good run through this. I'm just, with at least a 3-0 kind of buffer there already, maybe JDG can still creep into that top spot.
All right, well, here's my flaming hot take.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah.
Flaming hot take.
There we go.
Thank you very
okay.
much. We're going to have some banger-ass games tomorrow. That's my
not a
hot
hot
take.
take.
That's a damn hot take because everybody's going to show up and they're going to deliver.
It's the
We're
Jack
going.
hot takes. No one has said it yet. Therefore,
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
hot take.
okay.
See, you
All
get
right.
it. You
All
get
right.
it. I'm just, hey,
All right.
do what Jad does. It seems to work for him. It's going to work for me too, right? No, we're going to tiebreakers tomorrow. That's my hope. We're going to find our way to some tiebreakers and to some real action here in Group B. But for now, that's going to do it from us here in the Hulu Theater. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow for more worlds. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.
I don't think I can hit them.
Yeah, you can try.
Flandre, who's having to walk away from it now. Razork, he goes for bad flag, and D9 gets first blood in the Fnatic jungle.
I got it. It's good. It's good. Look here. Good luck. You're getting him up. You're ready. Yeah, I'm fine. Really good. Big Maokai flag, okay?
And Razork will fall second. Wonder will do nothing. And C9 are going to find the first win of the group stage for North America. Oner's grabbing the first kill. The Herald dies to the turret. Razork's going to be next. Upset tries to provide covering fire, but Humanoid's made his way in. He ejected, and Gumayusi is ready to catch the pass. Humanoid again trying to get away. A double kill back over to FLICKR. Humanoid running. The only man left standing in Fnatic colors. And now they're bringing a party to mid lane. Hey, Jensen, knock. Here comes the LPL. Here comes EDG. It's not like it was expected to. Fudge goes through the Hex gate. He's immediately killed. Sven's out next. Berserker's gonna drop. Scout gets away. EDG, they're marching to the win. Viper vulnerable, but there was no one else here to punish it. Again, it's going to turn. Razork running, sprinting, trying to get out, but it will not happen. Fnatic, every single play they have tried to force this game has just turned. But there's an Akali off to the side. Oh, they are not the best bodyguards. They cannot protect their AD carry. A single misposition, and now Fnatic are falling apart at the seams. EDG tearing through them effortlessly, taking down Fnatic in the fight.
This is all I wanted for the past 20 minutes. Do it, Sven, do it! It gives you heart. You see the grenade.
If you want the Heimer, cheer for the Heimer, New York. Dash just goes right into the wall. Can they take him down? They're trying to burn through Jensen before anything else comes out. Blabber in the midst of the entire team. Stun comes out, but now he can push the E. He can activate it. So much damage resistance going in. Blabber wants to finish it. It's a clean side step. They get first blood. Can he take the best of 5 against FLICKR in the 1v1? Oh, that's all that matters. Can he get it? Soraka flip. Golden. Can he take the best of 5? Oh, FLICKR coming back. FLICKR with the stopwatch gets the last lap. Some flashy moments, some highlight plays from the side of C9. They gave us the montages we were hoping for, but T1 did it even better. It's a Pyro with a gun versus all of EDG, and he's making it work. Keria, the frontline Soraka. We went from dead even to absolute slaughter. T1 taking over the triple for Zeus, dominating the fight. Firing back one in respawn. The Kalista now flashing forward. Guma, fearless, leaping into the face of EDG. Viper running from the hills. T1, domination.